This bedtime mistake is aging your brain faster. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to John the Living. Let me ask you something. Have you ever laid in bed, lights off, phone in hand, just scrolling? Maybe you're catching up on the news, checking social media, or replaying the day's regrets in your head? It feels harmless, right? But what if I told you that one bedtime habit might be quietly speeding up how fast your brain ages? Faster than the candles on your birthday cake. Neuroscientists have been sounding the alarm for years. But most seniors, they've never heard it, because nobody tells you that what you do in the last hour before bed could be pushing your brain into faster decline, poor memory, and emotional burnout. And today, I'll show you the story of Carol, a 68-year-old who thought she was just unwinding at night, until she realized it was stealing her clarity. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share might just change how you sleep forever. Carol was 68, a retired librarian from Cedar Falls, Iowa. She'd spent her whole life surrounded by books, people, and routines. But after retirement, the routines slipped away. Her husband passed 5 years ago. Her daughter lived 2 states over, and the house that once echoed with stories was now mostly filled with silence. So Carol developed a new bedtime habit, one she thought was harmless. She'd settle into her recliner after dinner, put the news on, scroll Facebook, maybe answer a few emails or play a word puzzle on her phone. Sometimes she'd stay up late watching those crime documentaries she secretly loved. It felt like company in an empty house, like she was still connected. But slowly, things began to change. Carol started forgetting little things: where she put her reading glasses, why she walked into the kitchen, what day her prescription refill was due. At first, she laughed it off. Senior moments, she called them. But the fog in her head wasn't just in the morning anymore. It followed her all day. She felt drained, anxious, like she was running on fumes. She couldn't understand it. She was eating right, walking daily, doing crossword puzzles, but her brain, it felt like it was slipping away, and she didn't know why. What Carol didn't know was that her quiet little bedtime routine was doing something far more dangerous than she ever realized. Her nightly scrolling, late-night news, and TV binging were disrupting her brain's natural sleep cycle and accelerating its aging process. According to Dr. Matthew Walker, neuroscientist and sleep expert, and author of the best-selling book Why We Sleep, sleep is not a luxury. It's a non-negotiable biological necessity. Chronic sleep deprivation, especially in older adults, accelerates aging in the brain and body. You see, seniors are already more vulnerable to circadian rhythm disruption. And when we add artificial light from phones, TVs, and LED lamps, our brains suppress melatonin, the hormone responsible for signaling sleep. But here's the scarier part. A 2023 study by the National Institute on Aging found that seniors with disrupted sleep, particularly those exposed to screens late at night, experienced 30% faster cognitive decline over 5 years. That's not theory. That's science. It means Carol's late-night scrolling wasn't just stealing her rest. It was quietly aging her brain, making her more forgetful, foggy, and anxious. And the worst part? She wasn't alone. Millions of seniors unknowingly fall into the same trap every night. But once Carol learned the truth, she made one small change, and everything started to shift. What Carol was going through, It wasn't rare. In fact, it's become the quiet epidemic of modern senior life. Seniors across the country are falling into the same nightly patterns, thinking they're just unwinding, relaxing, or keeping their minds sharp. They climb into bed with their phones or tablets telling themselves, just a few minutes to check the news. But those few minutes turn into an hour of scrolling, catching up on world disasters, political debates, old memories on Facebook, until their brains are flooded with stress, anxiety, and fear. Or they fall asleep with the TV still on, the noise filling the room, but robbing them of the deep, healing sleep their aging brains desperately need. And underneath it all, there's an emotional truth few admit. It's not just about entertainment. It's about the loneliness, the fear of being forgotten, the dread of facing another night where the house is quiet, the body aches, and the mind whispers those terrifying thoughts. What if I don't wake up tomorrow? What if no one checks on me? What if I'm slowly disappearing and no one notices? These aren't just thoughts, they're triggers, and they keep the body in a state of fight or flight when it should be in rest and recovery. Carol didn't know it yet, but she was about to learn how to take back her nights and her mind. If you've been with us before, you might remember Walter. He's 73 now, still living in that same small house in Ohio, still sipping his morning coffee on the porch. But Walter's nights, they used to look a lot like Carol's. He'd sit in his recliner after dinner, TV flickering in the background, scrolling through endless news stories on his tablet. He told himself it helped him fall asleep, but in truth, it kept him awake. Body tense, mind spinning. He noticed the same things Carol did: the brain fog, the irritability, the creeping memory slips. But one night, after another restless, anxious evening, Walter made a choice, a simple one, but powerful. He turned off his devices at 8 p.m. sharp, switched the overhead lights to a soft, warm lamp, and opened a notebook. Just a plain old spiral notebook. He wrote 3 things he was grateful for that day. Some nights, it was the sound of the birds outside. Other nights, it was as simple as, I made it through today. At first, it felt silly, but within a week, Walter noticed something strange. He was falling asleep faster. His mornings felt lighter. And his memory, it wasn't slipping like it used to, because by changing how he ended his day, he was giving his brain what it truly needed: rest, not stimulation. Walter's change wasn't magic. It was science. According to Dr. Matthew Walker, one of the world's leading sleep neuroscientists, sleep is your life support system, and after 60, it becomes your most powerful tool to protect your memory, your mood, and your longevity. Dr. Walker recommends 3 simple, powerful steps for seniors who want to protect their brains at night. Number 1, set a digital sunset at least 1 hour before bed. Turn off all screens, phones, tablets, TVs, at least 1 hour before bedtime. Why? Because even small amounts of blue light block melatonin, the sleep hormone your aging brain needs to clean itself and lock in memories. Number 2, create a wind-down routine. Soft lighting, warm tea, light stretching, or gentle music. Tell your body, it's time to relax. Seniors need this cue even more than younger folks. It trains your brain to feel safe and let go of the day. Number 3, gratitude journaling. A simple habit like writing 3 things you're thankful for calms the overthinking mind and lowers nighttime cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps you awake. And here's the best part. It's never too late. Whether you're 60, 70, or 80, Your brain is still listening, still healing, still waiting for you to give it the rest it deserves. Carol's story, Walter's journey, they both remind us of something powerful, that sometimes the biggest changes in our lives don't come from doctors or pills or fancy routines. They come from one small choice made quietly at home when no one's watching. For Carol, it was realizing that her nightly habits were stealing her mornings. For Walter, it was understanding that his brain needed calm, not constant information. And for you, maybe tonight is the night you make your choice. Maybe you turn off the phone an hour earlier. Maybe you swap the TV for a soft lamp. Maybe you just sit for a moment, breathe deep, and write down one thing you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. Your brain is still listening. Your body is still capable of healing. And it's never too late to reclaim your nights and protect your precious mind. If this story touched you, I invite you to subscribe to John the Living. This is a place for real stories, real healing, and real conversations about life after 60. And before you go, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? I love seeing how far this little community reaches.